afuera este frío, yo siento mucho calor, aunque sople el huracán. Siento fuego en mi interior, porque yo vivo siempre en primavera. So my name is Iggy Kessel. Ignacio is a Spanish name. I'm original from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And the people call me Iggy, I-G-Y, so it's easier than Ignacio, it's too long. And I'm a guitar player, songwriter, and I've been playing guitar for a long, long time, since I was 2 years old. And I was playing here in Canada, well, back in Argentina with the last one that I was playing was Jose Forbes, and then we have a record outside, and we have 3,000 people in a concert, the last concert we played, and I was in the 20s, I was very, very young. And then I moved to Canada in 1996, and since I moved, I was playing with a lot of recording artists. I was playing with Val Leroy, Lori Cole, Rob Russell Band, Damian Marshall, and Bobby Wills, and I've been CCM nominated as a guitar player too in 2013. So my background music, I started playing when I was 2 years old, and it's a funny story because I had the suitor all the time, and I was 2 years old, and my mom couldn't take that suitor away from me at all. And then one day we were walking through an avenue in Argentina, and I saw a guitar, and I was desperate to get it, and I was showing at my mom that I want that. And then my mom says, "You want that?" It's a guitarra, and guitarra is guitar in Spanish. And then I say, yeah. And my mom got the guitar and says, "I'll give you the guitar if you give me the suitor." And then I just went for the deal, and I got the guitar, and then since then I've been playing. My first experience playing the guitar was I was actually playing folk in Argentina, the folk music we call samba and chacareras and all that kind of stuff, and the gauchos, music of the gauchos and all that in Argentina, the cowboys. And then since I was actually growing up and in the high school, and I started high school, and I started playing like rock music, and I got my first electric guitar when I was 12 years old, I think. And my dad got me an electric guitar, and then and he was very happy in the beginning, and he wanted to take the guitar away because I was playing so loud in those days, right? And then I learned playing my rock licks and all that, listening to Jimi Hendrix. And I remember I had those record players that you could change 16 and 33 and all that, and I was putting the records in 16 and listening to Jimi Hendrix there note by note, and I was playing exactly what Jimmy was playing. And then in high school, I remember that everybody wants me to play with them because I was the little boy that was, oh man, he's an amazing guitar player, bring him to play. And then when I think I was in grade 9 and 10, I really started to get serious in music, and Argentina, all the rock music from Argentina had a big influence from the jazz. And then I started to study jazz. I studied with two jazz guitar players in Argentina. They are amazing. One is James Tobias, and the other one is Jorge Di Pascua, El Gaucho. Amazing. And then it changed completely my life, right? And then I started to writing songs since I was pretty young too, and I had all that influence from rock and jazz. And then there was, I remember in those days there was a big influence in the rock music, and then Argentina was developing the Latino jazz fusion with all that percussion and all that kind of stuff. It was just amazing what we were doing there, and I grew up that way. So then in 1996 I moved to Canada. I have an opportunity to move over here with a working visa. And then I moved and I started playing, and so I I was playing in rock bands in the beginning and all that and doing my stuff, but when I moved to Calgary, Alberta, I was living 21 years in Calgary and listening to country music and all the guitar players and the amazing guitar players like Lee and all that, and I was just blown away with that. I said, oh my God, I want to learn on that. And then I learned chicken pick and double stopping and all that, and then started playing country music. And then everybody started hiring me. I just developed quite a style and influence because, you know, jazz and country has the same thing. You know, you play over the chords and chord progressions and all that, and use different modes and scales, and then it was very easy for me to actually to learn and to get all that. And so, and since then, I've been actually playing with a lot of musicians and all that, and so in these days I want to focus more in my where are my roots, because I find that people get very interested when I actually do my own style and play my own songs, and it's kind of different, right? And then they like more. And I think we as performers, we don't really actually play for, okay, we have fun, it is our satisfaction when the people come and say, oh, that was okay, right? But it's more also, it's a gift that we give to people, right? A gift is always, we can have a gift, we can have talent, but it's also to give it to somebody else. Because I think if you don't give it with a good heart, so the gift will die inside of you. But if you give it, you will grow as a musician, and your talent will develop. And then that's what I do. I just, I really like making people happy. And I do my best, right? I practice a lot, and I want people to see that, and I just always play to give a good time to the crowd, right? So, la paz y la armonía que hay en mí, yo puedo llenar con melodías y hacer tu corazón feliz. Si salto, vuelo o me río, no creas que estoy loco, es solo. Well, the difference between Canada and Argentina, Argentina in the beginning, when I actually was listening to music, of course, I was listening more that traditional music of the country. In the very early 60s, it was all that I was born in the 60s. It was all, for me, it was all tango music and folk music, and it was all that because it was so popular, right? And there was a lot of classical music, and I never heard jazz in the 60s, right? But in the late 60s, with all the transformation of the rock bands and all that, it would really hate Argentina. Like, it was amazing, like crazy, and then everybody was just long hair, and then hippies all over, and it changed the mentality, and it changed the music. I remember, for me, when I was and junior and all that, I was just listening to see all the long hair guys in high school and all that, and always in high school there were bands playing rock and roll music, and then I was so fascinated with all that. The influence of that rock, it changed completely the mentality in Argentina. But Argentina has a music culture, and then it was always classical music. If you see the Theater Colón, it's a huge, big, amazing theater with all classical music and opera and jazz. Of course, there's a lot of jazz music in Argentina. And then I will say, right now, there is no difference between Canada and Argentina. You go there, you can hear country music, you can hear rock and roll, you can hear jazz, you can hear classical music, and in Argentina it's exactly the same, right? There is no much difference. Of course, if you if you see if you listen to a rock band here in Canada and original music from Argentina, rock, you will see that there is difference. Argentina, the rock music had a big influence of jazz, and then you will see a lot of different chord progressions, and the way they sing is actually different. You will notice that a lot, right? You hear a rock band playing, you know, major seventh and all that kind of stuff. Things that you won't actually hear. It's not that just power chords and all that. It's more advanced, I would say. Yeah? And so Argentina, if you want to be a musician, you need to be a good one. If you want to perform, you need to be good, right? You can't actually, because they won't accept you, right? You need to. That's why everybody goes to school. Everybody learn music and all that down there, because you know, if you want to continue a career as musical career, you need to actually to be good. Otherwise, it will be a no, right? And then of course. There are like I would say punk rock bands and all that kind of stuff from late 80s, and the Ramones and all that. They was all in Argentina too, right? And but always with that little jazz influence, you will see, right? And then of course Argentina, you know, there was a lot of a problem with the economy and all that, and Canada, if you want to actually make a living as a musician, you have more opportunities than in Argentina. Argentina, it's a hard life for a musician, right? But I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it will cost you more than here in Canada. Here in Canada, I mean, if you play with different bands and you play, you know, you teach guitar and all that kind of stuff, you can make a living, right? But you have to be a lot on the road too. I've been doing that for a while, and I've been. I like to be in my home more than, you know, just being on the road all the time. When I was younger, yeah, but right now I don't want to really actually be on the road. And then, the crowd in Argentina is amazing. I was telling you, it's amazing because there's a lot of people, right? And then all the big rock bands go to Argentina because they have big stadiums, and then there is 80,000, 100,000 people just in a concert, no? And then they just all the bands love that, right? Because there's a lot of people and sound and everything. And then I saw Queen, I saw Yes in Argentina in the 80s. So amazing rock band, and you know, Metallica and all that. They just love, because they love all that big bands and all that. And there are a lot of people over there. Canada is it's a big land, but there is less people, right? And there are big concerts too here, but it's no like in Argentina. Any band there is kind of, you know, it will have a crowd, right? And there are the bars in Argentina are big, are huge, right? It's probably, I'll say, double from here, right? Just for the population, right? If you want to start a bar in Argentina, you need to have, you know, a capacity for at least 2,000 people, you know, because in the Saturday night, it's you know, it will be a crowd, right? And then so small places won't actually work for a bar, right? And Buenos Aires is a very interesting city. It's 24/7. It never stops. And then you can go have a meal. You can go, you know, to the movie theater at 3 o'clock in the morning if you want, right? Because it's continuous, 24/7. There's people working, you know, and then so you can go and listen to live music until 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes there are bands playing, right? And there are places where they have like 4 bands in a night, and they start early in the afternoon and they finish at 6 in the morning playing, right? One after the other one. So you can go, and then you can go to another bar, and it's the same thing, and it's amazing. Right? It's a unique kind of thing, I would say. You know? Of course, it was affected with COVID and all that, like any other countries, right? But things are coming back, and I'm glad that we don't have to wear masks anymore, and we can actually be, and start live performance and all that. It will be something beautiful again, right? Yeah, well, the song is With You is Always Springtime. In Spanish, of course, is Contigo Siempre Primavera. It's talking about that a relationship with a woman, and it's always springtime. It feels like it doesn't matter if outside it's very cold or whatever, but it's always springtime. It's always flowers and all that. So, all right. Aunque afuera esté frío, yo siento mucho calor. Aunque sople el huracán, siento fuego en mi interior, porque yo vivo siempre en primavera. Oh yeah, porque yo vivo siempre en primavera. Oh yeah, aunque afuera esté frío, yo siento mucho calor. Aunque sople el huracán, siento fuego en mi interior, porque yo vivo siempre en primavera. Oh yeah, porque yo vivo siempre en primavera. Y paso todo el tiempo cantando, y paso todo el tiempo bailando, y paso todo el tiempo gritando. Contigo es primavera, con mi amor es primavera. Contigo siempre es primavera. Contigo siempre es primavera. Con mi amor es primavera. Con mi amor es primavera. Con mi amor es primavera. Oh, y paso todo el tiempo cantando, y paso todo el tiempo bailando, y paso todo el tiempo gritando. Con mi amor es primavera, contigo es primavera, contigo siempre es primavera, contigo siempre es primavera.